Good morning children. Today we are going to continue with our lesson force. Here we are going to see the topic friction. So what is this friction? Friction is the resistive force. Friction is the resistive force acting between two bodies. So friction is the resistive force acting between the two bodies which are in contact. That is, the first condition is they should be in contact. Okay. Friction acts on an object when it moves over another object. Okay, when their surfaces are in contact with each other. So the friction will be there when two surfaces are in contact with each other. Then friction will be acting in the direction opposite to the motion of the body. So if the motion of the object is in this direction, the friction will be in the opposite direction. So eventually the effect of the motion will be slowed down. We already saw in the resultant force. Is it not? When it is acting in the opposite direction, we are going to subtract. So the effect will be slowed. That is what is happening here. When the motion of the object is in one direction and when the friction is acting in the opposite direction, what will happen? The body have to slow down. So that is why it is bringing the... Okay. Now, friction is the contact force and it depends on the nature of the surfaces in contact. So, since it is a contact force, the nature of the surface is also very, very important. That is, the roughness or the smoothness of the surface. So, the rough or the smooth. If the surface is rough or smooth, that will determine the extent of the friction. Determine the extent of the friction means how much the friction is occurring. Okay, if the surface is smooth, the friction will be very less. If the surface is very rough or hard or bit rough, in that case the friction will be more. That is what we are going to see. Okay, now when one surface is in contact with the other surface, the irregularities will get locked. That is what is happening. Okay, the irregularities will get locked and they will produce an obstruction to the relative motion. See, if these two surfaces are smooth, they will be sliding like this. That is, there is no place to get locked. But if there are some irregularities, like some holes or some dents or some sharp things, that means they will be getting locked like this. So they will not be able to move. So this will be offering a resistance or the obstruction for the motion of the body. Okay, that is what they are saying. When two surfaces are rough, they have more regularities. So the interlocking is more and the friction is more. So this is very, very important. Two surfaces are rough, first point. Irregularities are more. So interlocking is more. In that case, friction is also more. Okay, that is what I told. So pushing the box over the surface. Okay, then coming to the smooth. If the surfaces are smooth, if the two surfaces are smooth, irregularities are less, two surfaces are smooth, irregularities are less, friction is also less. Okay, to reduce the friction, so we can make the surfaces smooth. If you want to reduce the friction, you can make the surface smooth. So the ball is easily moving over the floor. Is it not? If the glass tiles or the glass floor is there or the tiles floor is there, the ball will easily roll over. Whereas in the football ground or in the very patchy ground, then the ball will be rolling very slow. So here, look at the interlocking. This is how the two surfaces will get interlocked. Okay. Then it is also dependent on the objects, how they are pressed against each other. When it is pressed with heavy force, then the friction is more. Whereas if it is not pressed, it is very smooth, then that is slower. So the friction is also dependent upon the pressure. That is how much we are going to press. If we are pressed harder, okay, the motion, then the friction will be more. If you are pressing it harder, friction will be more. Now coming to the types of friction, you have two types of friction. One is the static friction, other one is the kinetic friction. Two types, one is the static, other one is the kinetic. So what is the static? So if we push the table gently, it will not move. Okay, that is the friction between the table and the ground is preventing the table to move. So that is called static friction. That is, the friction is not allowing. The friction is between the two surfaces when there is no relative motion. Then it is called static friction. The simple example, you can take this. The table is pushed gently. So the gentle word is very, very important. You are not pushing with full force. You are pushing only gently. See, if I push gently, I cannot see much movement. But if I push it with full force, I can say the change in the motion. So the maximum value of the static friction is between the two surfaces in contact beyond. So that is called the limiting friction. Till the maximum value, the body will not move. The moment it crosses the maximum value, the body will start moving. So that is called the limiting friction. Okay. Now coming to the kinetic friction. What is this kinetic friction? So when the body is moving, it comes to rest because of the friction. So that is what. The friction force between the two surfaces, when it is in relative motion, then it is called as kinetic friction. That is, two body also should be moving. So when the object is sliding, then it is called sliding friction. When it is rolling, it becomes rolling friction. The two types of kinetic friction is sliding friction and rolling. See, here the box is sliding on the surface. Here, when I attach the wheels, it will be rolling. That's all. Like in the trolley. Okay, or in the shopping malls, you will be having that small trolleys. No, all the trolleys will be having wheels. So those wheels are having rolling friction. Whereas this box is pushed over the table, so that will be having the sliding friction. Okay. Now coming to the effects of friction. So what are the effects of friction? First thing is, friction is the reason because it is behind many phenomena. It is behind many things which is happening around us. Okay. So what is the first thing? First is when we are having the machine. Any machine will be getting heated. Take the case of our washing machine. Okay. After the entire washing process is over, if you go and touch, what you will see? You will be having heat there. Then take the case of the car. Okay. You have traveled a distance. When you come and park the car, if you touch on the bonnet, you will be feeling the heat. That is because of the friction produced. Similarly, when you want to strike the matchbox and cause the fire. Okay. That means there also you need friction. Okay. So the effects of friction is seen everywhere. Everywhere. All our day-to-day activities we can see. First effect is it produces heat. Second effect is it reduces the speed. Then it causes the wear and tear of the material. It reduces the speed in the case of applying the brakes. When you apply the brake, it will reduce the speed. Okay, then it causes the wear and tear. The bushes, we have heard this word, the bushes are spoiled. That means because the material has been under friction for a long time. So the bushes will undergo wear and tear of the material. Friction will produce heat, it will reduce the speed, then it will cause the wear and tear of the material. Okay, this activity you can do at home and see. See, nothing. This is a sliding box and this is a rolling pen or a pencil. Okay, if I keep the box, it will have a flat surface. So the flat surface will always give me a sliding friction only. Okay, whereas a pen or a pencil, see, it has the rolling thing. So this is the rolling friction. Okay, and this is a sliding friction. Rolling friction is very, very fast. You have to control this only with a rough surface. See, this surface of this book is very soft, or smooth. So the pen is rolling. It is not at all stopping until the speed is getting reduced on its own. And whereas this box, if I slide, it is not sliding very fast, but it will be sliding. So the rolling friction will be always a bit more than in the case of the sliding friction. You should know that much. Okay. Conclusion is, we can say sliding friction is greater than rolling friction. You check this and tell me. Okay. Now we will be seeing again, recalling what we saw in this lesson or in this portion. What is friction? So friction force is the resistive force which is acting between the two bodies which are in contact. It is not acting between two bodies which are at a distance. It should be, the two bodies should be in contact with each other. Then the friction is acting in the direction opposite to the direction of the motion. That much is clear. 2 points you should be very, very clear. Then the friction will be depending on the nature of the surface which is in contact. If the surface is rough, there will be more irregularities. It means the interlocking is more. That means the friction is also more. Whereas the surface is very, very smooth. Surface is very smooth. That means smooth. The irregularities are less and the friction is also less. Then it is also dependent on the pressure. It is also dependent upon the pressure of pressing. Okay. Then what are the two types of friction? One is a static friction and other one is the kinetic friction. So what is a static friction? Static friction means when the two surfaces are in contact but there is no relative motion. Say I am keeping this box here. I am trying to push here. But I am pressing. So there is one friction caused because of this box on this surface. But there is no motion of the box. Until I push it very hard. Simply I am placing this box on the table. Yet there is some friction. So that friction is called static friction. So if I keep on increasing the applied force, you can say it will be starting moving. The box will start moving. So that maximum value of the friction, okay, where the object will start moving over the other, where this object will start moving, that friction is called the limiting friction, because after that you cannot limit, the body will start moving. So that is called the limiting friction. So what is static friction? There is no relative motion. It is only on the static motion. So that is why it is called static friction. And there is one topic called limiting friction. There is the maximum friction where the body is starting to move. Then coming to the kinetic friction. That is when there is relative motion between two objects. Either both the objects are moving or one object is stopped and other object is moving. Here you will be having two types. One is a sliding friction, another one is a rolling friction. Sliding, where example the box is moving on the plane of the book, or that's all called for sliding. Now for rolling, if I have the pen which is rolling, see the pen is rolling, pen is not stopping, the pen is rolling. So that is caused because of the wheels or the shape of the object. The shape of the object should be cylindrical or spherical. Then you will be having the rolling friction. Okay, now that is what they have done in this activity. You can do this. You can simply take a box or a scale and you can keep it there, and you can take the wooden block which is of you can take the box which is having a rectangular surface and the cylindrical surface is provided by the pen or the pencil. So you can do this activity and see. Okay, now coming to the effects of friction, these are the three effects. First effect is it produces heat, then it reduces the speed, and it causes wear and tear. Sometimes all these effects are advantages and sometimes these are all becoming the disadvantages. So produces the heat, you know, as the machine is run for a long time, it will be producing the heat. Reducing the speed, as in the case of applying the brake for the car. Then for wear and tear, the bushes are getting damaged because of the continuous wear and tear. So all these points you should know. Okay, keep in mind all these topics. Then only we can go ahead with the advantages of the friction, disadvantages of the friction, and the methods to minimize the friction in the next video. Okay, so keep in mind what is this friction, what are the types of friction, and what are the effects of friction. Okay children, in the next video we will continue with the next topic. Okay, thank you.